Yay! Hi, everybody. Hi, Nadine. I'm so excited to be here with you today, Amanda. I know this is kind of like part two for you and I because it's been a while since we've been on together, but it was so much fun the last time. I'm like, yay!
Yeah, I was so excited when you invited me back. So thanks for the invitation. So happy to be here.
Yes, and it's different this time. Like, I've kind of morphed it and it's been changing. And so this is What's Your Story Business Edition. You're a business owner. I'm a business owner. Nadine is on. She's a business owner, right? So we're going to talk about owning businesses and what's going on in our world. But before we start, for anybody new, please join the chat. Let us know you're here. Let us know where you're from if you want to, because we don't see you unless you talk. So or chat in the comments. So please feel free to do so. I'm Tanya Bugbee with Tanya Bugbee Coaching and Consulting. I'm a business coach, so I coach business owners. Many of my clients are real estate agents, brokers, lenders in the real estate industry. And that's not all. I have others, right? Like my roofer, so there are others. So that's my business. Amanda, I'm turning it over to you. Your turn.
Yeah, I run a small business called Good Things Come to Those Who Journal, and I help people catch the magic of journaling and find the best way for them to build a practice they can really write their way to a life that they love.
Yeah. And I have taken one of your journaling sessions, which I loved. It made me cry. So I think that's good. Well, that's a good thing. Tears are good, and tears have words to say, right? So it's a good thing. And I always tease my clients when they cry on a coach call that I did something really, really good, right? I peeled away the onion enough that they got emotional. So tears are good. And I'm so grateful that you did a journaling class for my coaching clients, that you did a class for them, which I still hear about. So thank you.
Oh,
Journaling is important. Yeah.
well, journaling is something that I really took for granted for a whole lot of years. I know lots of people have heard me tell the story of how I found journaling as an angsty teenager, just having a really hard day. None of my friends could come to the phone. So I picked up a journal and a mechanical pencil and I started to write. And that was the beginning for me. I just, for the first time, connected writing with how I felt, and it felt really, really good to feel lighter. I think we all know that feeling of just having the weight taken off our shoulder when we just
Right.
get the feelings out of our system. But I never really thought there was more to it than that. Um, I'd never talked about it. I just kind of assumed if I could figure out journaling, then it must come intuitively to everybody else.
Yeah.
And I was really floored when I started speaking up and sharing journaling with people, how many questions people had. And I realized, oh, journaling isn't intuitive to everybody, but everybody can learn to do it. And everybody can learn to do it in a way that feels really good and true and authentic to them in ways that help them reach their goals.
Right. And I think that's what resonates, what attracted me to you or drew me to you and your writing. And we met on LinkedIn, and I love your posts. Pardon me. Is that there's no right way or wrong way to do this, right? And that's what I needed to hear, because I don't know, am I supposed to have a certain journal and I'm supposed to have a certain pen and I need to write about my feelings? And sometimes it's not my feelings. Sometimes it's my
Mhm.
goals. And I just love how you can say there's no right way, no wrong way. Start, no length of time is right or wrong. And I'm like, okay, I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's really a gift that I can help people just give themselves permission to let the practice be what it is. Because I've talked to so many people in the last couple of years who were beyond frustrated because they've heard journaling would be helpful, but they have no idea how to make it work for them. So they'll
Right.
think, oh, well, I should journal. So let me look up, you know, best ways to journal, right? Or they'll listen to some experts like advice on how to journal, and it just doesn't resonate with them. And usually when it doesn't kind of doesn't feel good to them, it doesn't resonate, they think, oh, well, journaling doesn't work, or
Right.
I've done something wrong, or
Right.
worse, there must be something wrong with me,
Right.
like who I am. Journaling just doesn't work for me. When really it's often just a mismatch between what we want journaling to do for us and how we're doing it.
Yeah.
Because there's so many beautiful ways to journal, but we have to know what we want our journaling to do, because every technique will give us a different result. If
Sure.
I want to be more grateful, for example, I would want to keep a gratitude journal. I wouldn't want to detail all the problems in my life because that will never make me more grateful, right? If I want to keep a record of my life and what it's like, I'm going to gravitate towards like stream of consciousness writing, just like
Right.
what was my day like, and keep it more like a historical diary. If I want to really be intentional about the way I live and being mindful, I'm probably going to pull in journal prompts that'll really center me.
Yeah.
In that
Thanks,
way of
Nadine.
thinking.
Yes. And so I'll tell you a little secret. So the last 2 years, there's a coach that I know that actually was one of my mentors when I was getting certifications for coaching. She was one of my mentors, and every year she does a vision board. So it's on Zoom, so it's a vision board, and the first thing she has us do before we start our vision boards is she has us journal, like. And I just now remembered it. It's like, yes. And it's like journal, what you want, what are you thinking? What are you feeling about the next year? And then we jump into, doing our vision board. So journaling is so powerful. And I love it when we do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
cool.
It is amazing to me. The more ways I journal, the more ways I discover I can journal. And the more areas of my life I see that it applies to. Like, I'm convinced that it applies to or is helpful in every area of my life. And if I haven't figured out how to do it yet, it's just only because I haven't tried. But journaling has made my relationships better. It's helped improve my focus and my productivity. It's helped me reach goals. It's helped me be more intentional. It's helped me love myself better. It's helped me better understand my thoughts and feelings. Oh my gosh, it helps me in every possible way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to journal more, and I get out of the habit. Typically, like I said, I'm going away next week to help family. And I don't want to predispose myself, but let me look at my back history. I tend to get out of the habit when I'm somewhere else. Then I get home and it's here. So now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm going to problem solve that. But I get out of the habit, and then it's like, okay, I got to jump back in. And then I jump back in, and it's like, yay, Tanya, you jumped back in. What took you so long? You're a coach. What are you thinking?
Well, and I think that is the magic piece right there, because I remember going through a period where I was a very sporadic journaler, and I would go days, weeks, sometimes months without journaling. And every time I came back to my journal, it's been 6 weeks and 4 days since the last time I journaled. Like it was confession, like my journal was judging me. My journal wasn't judging me. My journal does not have feelings.
Right.
And I reminded myself of this so many times. But the thing is, I'm the one judging myself. Right. I'm the one having this unrealistic expectation of what my journaling should be. And once I got rid of that practice, once I just started jumping right back in, you don't have to recap all the places you've been before you talk about the here and now. And I think that was the biggest epiphany for me, is I don't have to put off being present with this practice that can help me right now just because I didn't do it yesterday or the day before. Right. Or the day before.
Right, exactly. Okay, so journaling is wonderful, and I always had intentions of doing it more. So I maybe needed just to relax and just accept that it's 3 times a week, and that's great for me, right?
It's 3 times a week it's amazing. If you have a consistent 3 days a week journal practice, you have a consistent journal practice.
Yay.
Yeah.
Not changing it. There we go. Yeah. Thank you. And okay, so switching the topic just a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. I want to talk about being business owners, right? I mean, we've survived going through COVID and, being business owners. And in transparency, I became a business owner. I started my own coaching company in March 2022. So a year and a half. And so there's been a lot of bumps and bruises and skin knees and wins. So how about you? How long have you been in business, and what are some of your wins and challenges being a business owner?
Yeah, so I started all of this accidentally on purpose. I did not set out to be a business owner. I did not set out to be a journaling coach. I just wanted to talk to people about things that I love. And once I saw that it was helpful to people, I just wanted to be more helpful.
Yeah.
And so it really started for me when a connection of mine on LinkedIn told me that she knew journaling would be important for her. And she knew she'd get a lot of value out of it, but she just couldn't show up for herself. But she would show up if she was accountable to somebody else. And I was like, okay, cool, let's see. So without knowing what this was going to be, I ran a 5-day early morning journaling program. And I got a handful of women to come and journal with me. And it was so amazing. Like every day we journaled differently because I wanted them to see like how many different ways you could journal and how to put the pieces together to build a practice that you really love. And by the end of that week, just 5 days, the same young woman said to me, she's like, I always thought that I would need to set aside a lot of time to journal, that I'd need a half an hour, maybe 2 hours. But I see how much I got done in just these small increments of time this week. She's like, I can do this. And she has, and she's gone on to do amazing things.
Wow.
And that was the beginning for me. And I thought, well, I want to do more of this because if I like it for a week, maybe I'll like doing it for a whole month. And then it became another month. And then I was like, no, this is really what I was meant to do. Right. And I started working with a coach. I started offering programs. So I didn't really mean to be a business owner. It just kind of happened. And I'm forever, I think, going to be grateful that it did.
Yeah. So what have you learned? Like, what didn't you know that you know now? That you want to maybe share with the world, you know?
Oh my gosh.
You got to know this before you start, kind of
thing. I think the biggest thing I've learned, oh my gosh, I've learned so many things.
Go ahead. Bullet point them. Whatever you want to do. We'll journal while you don't. Go ahead.
Yeah, I will start with be really open to what the universe sends your way. That, again, for me is how all of this started. And every time I just focus on what I can control, which are my thoughts, my words, and my actions, and I let go of my attachment to particular outcomes, every time I do that, everything turns out exactly as it should. Mm-hmm. When I try to control outcomes, I find myself like bashing my head against a brick wall and getting really frustrated. Another thing that's super important for me is to stay out of the comparison game.
Yes.
To pay just enough attention to what other people are doing to be inspired and to cheer them on, but not pay so much attention that all of a sudden I'm comparing myself and seeing where I stack up. Because no matter how I stack up, if I'm ahead or I'm behind, I lose either way.
Right.
And so really just stay away from that. And I think the third thing is to have the right people in your corner and to know who those people are. And I'm so grateful for the community that we found and built here on LinkedIn, especially because I've met the best people who are so supportive, who are the best cheerleaders, who are always there with encouragement and to support. And then I have encouragement at home. I'm pointing at my husband who's not here, who is behind me with everything I do. And he does not journal. He is not interested in journaling. He doesn't ever want to come to one of my sessions. But he's so proud of everything I do. And he is my biggest cheerleader. And it's really because of his support that I'm able to do all the wonderful things that I've been able to do.
That's so wonderful. I want to kind of put exclamation marks around the community. You know, when you're starting a business, to be in a community with like-minded business owners. It doesn't have to be all journaling coaches, right? However, just being around people that are also growing, you know, also have bad days, all of that, like all that messiness and juiciness together makes it so amazing and lifts you up when you need it. And then we can be there for somebody when we're, you know, running on a high. We can be there and hold someone's hand when they're not. So community is so important. And I love what you said about comparison, because so many of my clients will say, oh, there's a realtor in my office that has 5 listings and I don't have any. Like, what am I doing wrong? And it's like, there's a reason they put blinders on a horse. Yeah. Right. We just got to run your own race and do the right things. And then, of course, I sometimes need to have them go look in the mirror and say, well, what are you doing to get a listing or whatever that might be, right? You know, what's missing? What tactics are we not doing? But most of the time it's a huge encouragement to put the blinders on, because and I have to do the same thing. Like, I love that you said that. So yeah, so I was sharing with Amanda, and it's so quiet in here today. It's so weird for me to have it be so quiet. I'm like, what did I do wrong? Did I not turn something on? Because typically, you know, there's 5, 6, 7 people making comments. Maybe that's a learning lesson for me not to take 3 weeks off. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I was sharing with Amanda that being a business owner, being a solopreneur sometimes can be very lonely. And I also live alone. I'm a single gal here in Southern California and a solopreneur. So my daughter came over today to borrow my car, and I'm like, I need a hug. I need a high five. It's been days since I've gotten either. You know, she's like, okay, mom. And she's like, yeah. But it is lonely sometimes being a business owner. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think what's really hard is having people around who don't get what we're doing.
Right.
And people who love us, who want to support us, who just don't know how without letting their own stuff get in the way. Like my mom, who I love, and she is such a champion of mine, and also anxiety is her flavor of love. So when I first started telling her, like, oh, I'm doing these workshops and they're so great and I want to do more of them. And she's like, well, don't quit your job. I'm like, okay. And she's like, well, do you even know how to pay your taxes? You have to estimate your quarterly taxes. And I'm like, I'm sure I can learn that, Mom. Like, and I think maybe that's the other thing I've learned is I can figure out anything. And if I can't figure it out, I can figure out who to go to who knows that thing. And I think that is I think it's super important, is being resourceful and being able to think about who you know who can help you. You know, what do they say? Your network is your net worth, right? It's just so important to know who's on your team, even if you are a team of one. You know, we have people on our team. And that's why, you know, when you were talking about community and support, that's why I love group coaching programs so much. Me too. Because sometimes I don't know the question to ask, but then somebody else will say, oh, I have a question about X, Y, and Z. And I think, oh, I never even thought about that. But that reminds me of this other question I have. And I think it's super important for us to be able to
hey, I'm gonna interrupt Amanda just a second. Nadine says, because they said they might be in the wrong event tab, Tanya. You'll see them after. So Nadine, that's why I need you to produce. So I'm like, what am I doing? So there's a chat overlay, which I have turned off. Maybe I need to turn it on. So hold on a minute. Let's play for a minute. Let's see what happens when I do that. Maybe comments will pop up there. I mean, I know now our squares are really funky, so that's not going to work. So yeah, I need to reach out to Chris Hennessy, I think, and get a lesson. Chris, if you're there.
And for anyone who is listening, who is thinking, oh, maybe I could live stream, but I don't know how to live stream, definitely talk to Chris. He is the guy in the know. I learned live streaming from Chris Hennessy. Tanya, I know you did as well, talking about having the right people in your corner.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna actually reach out to him and get a lesson. In fact, I was his first client. So I hired him as my live stream coach. And so he's like, Tanya's my first client. And then obviously a lot more came, and he started group coaching. He coached me 1-to-1. So yeah, it's time for a refresher, because some things have changed inside of Restream. And I guess I'm not up to snuff because there's something wrong with the chat. So everybody who's here, who's commenting, I'm sorry, I'm not calling you out or putting your chat in the comments, because the only person I see is Nadine. That's the only person I see. And then there's someone just popped up, professional digital marketing expert, just said hello. So hello. So awesome. And then Nadine's like, the guilt trip. No guilt trip. Just a huge hint trip. Yes. So what about being a business owner? What do you find a frustration? What do you find a challenge? And if you could, if I gave you a magic wand and you can wave your magic wand, what would you want? So 2 questions in 1 sentence.
Oh, yeah, that is a great set of questions. My frustration is I don't think it's similar and different to every other business owner's frustrations, and it has to do with time. My particular time constraints are that I work a full-time job, I work a part-time job, and I run a business, and I have a family who likes to see me every now and again. So my particular struggle is with time and just being able to balance it all. And to try to do all the things that I love and want to do and still have time for, sleeping and breathing and taking good care of myself. So if I were to wave a magic wand, I don't know, I would get rid of all the stuff I don't want to do, like clean my house, or figure out what everyone is going to eat for dinner another night. I would like looking forward to being able to outsource all of that at some point in the hopefully near future. Yeah, but I think it's balance. I think it's balance and time, because when we have our own thing, it's harder to have parameters because we go into business because we love the thing that we do. Mm-hmm. And when we're doing a thing that we love, it is so much harder to stop at the end of the day than it is when we have, a 9 to 5. And we go in and we punch the clock and our shift is done and we get to come home, and then we don't necessarily have to think about it again. But when it's our own thing, it's always in my brain.
Look who just popped in. And yes, I hear you. And I have a few comments about that. Hey, Chris, your ears must be burning. Because I'm only seeing a very few people on the chat. Like I see Nadine, professional digital marketing, and you. So I'm thinking I'm only seeing LinkedIn, and I am not seeing Facebook or YouTube. So any of my people that said they were coming that are on Facebook, I'm not seeing them in the chat. And then poor Chris, he didn't know he was going to be coaching me live. I put the chat overlay, and then obviously our photos are weird, and there's nothing over here in chat overlay. So what I'm going to do, Mr. Chris Hennessy, is I will message you and ask for a lesson or to see what's happening, because this normally doesn't happen for me. So something's new, I'm thinking, in Restream. Anyway, so thank you for popping up. We were just bragging on you anyway, so we were. And we will continue to brag about how wonderful you are and getting both of us out of the nest with live streaming. So thank you, Chris. Magic wanding for me would be, well, I did do a magic wand and gave myself a VA to do my scheduling, because I was double booking myself, triple booking myself, and it was getting overwhelming for me. Like because I manage 3 calendars. I have my personal one. I have my own personal coaching that I do, and then I coach a few clients for Better Up, and so I have their calendar. So somehow I'm getting, so anyway, my VA, who I just started, she's wonderful. Neri, if you're listening on Facebook, she's amazing, and so she just handles it all. Just like, yep, gave it to her. So yeah, my challenge for you, Amanda, is, and all the things I said with the magic wand, pick one.
Nice.
Do it.
Well, that is really amazing advice, just in general, is to pick a thing and do the thing, and don't try to do all the things. Because I've lived most of my life with the philosophy, if a little is good, all of it's better, especially if I can do it all at the same time, which is why I always overloaded and always look like I'm going nuts, because I'm just interested in so many things, and I have so many ideas, and I want to do it all. And I'm really realizing I can't do it all at once. I can't launch 3 programs and this great initiative and do all this other stuff. Even if I had the time, like I don't have enough brain space or mental bandwidth to be able to do it.
All right. Yes. And we're not, as much as me and superheroes, got Wonder Woman behind me. I'm all about superheroes or tattoo on my arm. We aren't, right? And we do need to delegate and ask, and your husband can cook dinner tonight, right? or did. So Chris made some comments, and so thanks, Chris. I'm gonna turn it back on, but then again, obviously, I need to change my overlay because the overlay is not friendly with this. Chris said that wait for someone to comment, and then they will show up over here. So we'll wait a few minutes, and then I'll just go like this. Chris is rolling his eyes right now. He's like, "Please don't brag that I was your live stream coach, Tanya. Please don't brag."
Well, you were his first one, so that's a good excuse.
Yes. This should come through. Okay, Chris. Well, I'm going to wait a few more minutes, and then I'm going to put the overlay, put it so that the overlay is user friendly. And we'll see what happens. Here it goes. This should come through. Okay. So then obviously now I need to change the overlay, right, Chris? This is obviously not user friendly. And so have a different kind of overlay, which I don't have set up for this. So next week, when I go live, thank you, Chris, for helping and not making fun of us, at least not making fun of me out loud. He's laughing though.
Well, you have to laugh though. I find in laugh, I don't remember in life, I don't remember who said it. Like you can either laugh your way through it or you can cry your way through it. And laughing just feels so much better.
Well, and with live streaming, you have to. I've had live streams where I've wanted to cry, and I'm like, Tanya, you got to get over it. I had a live stream, and I love her. Now she's listening on another platform. She knows I'm going to be talking about her right now. Her babysitter canceled, so she had a 3-year-old on the live stream in her car, and she kept going in and out, and the internet wasn't working. And finally, after like the 3rd time that she got bounced out, she comes up on the side. I didn't let her back in, but sometimes life happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's out of our control for the most part. So yay. All right. We're almost to the half an hour. And so any last words of wisdom or anything you want to shout out? Like, hey, I'm looking for, and if anybody out there hears this is what I'm looking for, or wisdom, however you want to end.
Yeah.
And I am going to put your caption here. There we go. Something's got to work today. There we go.
I wanted to just wrap up by saying that point you just made about how things just happen and you gotta roll with it. That is like the supreme business lesson, right? Like we can have in our heads the plan and what it's going to be and what we're going to do, and life throws its curveballs our way, and we can either figure out how to turn that into something, or we can, just hang up our hat and be done. It's how badly do we want it? And I feel like if we are doing the thing we know we were meant to do, we can make it through anything. And building the right community, getting the right people behind us, really just feeling the passion of why we're doing it. And for me, it's because I really feel like journaling makes life better. I feel very strongly that the world gets a little better with each person who picks up their pen and journals. And if I can do nothing in my life but help people journal, I'll just feel like I have accomplished what I'm here to do.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Yes, and I feel the same way. I think every human on earth would be better with a coach. And I know I'm a coach. So it's like, of course, Tanya, you would say that. However, I have a coach. And, I've gone times where there's been a month or two where I've taken a break or 3 months break, but I always look forward to getting back with a coach, and it's either helping me through my divorce or helping me start my business or having another set of eyes where you get stuck, right? Yeah. Or can't see the forest past the trees and all that kind of, metaphorical speaking. So if anybody needs any journaling help, please reach out to Amanda. She's all over LinkedIn. Her posts are amazing. Any questions for me? I'm on LinkedIn as well and Facebook. And thank you, Amanda. Really appreciate your time today.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.